Alright guys, after this video, you guys are going to become a god at setting up your rune page for Riven. So with that being said guys, today we're going to be making an advanced Riven runes guide for Riven guys. It's going to be about everything. I'm going to be explaining literally every single keystone and everything else so you guys can understand everything about Riven and her runes. So with that being said guys, let's get started right away. So, we're just gonna go to the runes, and here we go. So, there is many ways to play Riven. Actually, a lot of ways. But there are a lot of different ones. Firstly, we're just gonna be going over a couple rune pages that are working very well, and then we're gonna go over the rune pages that are like kind of like off meta, but still working very well. So, just getting into the #1 best rune page currently for Riven, which is Conqueror, into Triumph, into Alacrity, and Last Stand. Also taking the Magical Footwear with the Cosmic Insight, taking a 1 CDR, 180, and 1 Armor. Now, this is not necessarily... you don't necessarily have to copy everything, because ultimately... the lane that you're going to be playing against is what you have to adapt to. So you shouldn't be exactly copying everything. You have to adapt everything. So if you're starting your champion select, like starting from your champion select, as soon as you know what you're going to be playing against, you want to change everything. So ultimately, Conqueror is the first keystone that you want to be going for. This is always going to be the same if you guys want to have the best setup. But also getting to the secondary, you have the option whether you go for Overheal, Triumph, or Presence of Mind. Now, Presence of Mind is not going to be useful for Riven. It's something that you will never take. Overheal is also something that ultimately, now with the Riven buffs, you could take it, but then again, Overheal is not the greatest thing because Triumph does not only help you when you kill your enemy and you get like missing health back, it helps you like diving. But also, the Triumph grants you a lot of gold. The more kills you get, the more gold. If you can get like 5 kills on each different champion in the game, you will get a lot of gold. So this is pretty good. Like, it might just be 20 gold per additional kill that you get. But then again, if you get super fed, it's going to add up eventually and you get like a lot. So this is pretty much like the first two that you always want to take. Now, for the rune for Alacrity and Tenacity and Bloodline, this is pretty much where things get really important because you're going to be using like all of these. So Alacrity is something that most people are playing with nowadays because Alacrity does not only help you being able to split push, getting towers a lot faster, and overall just having more attack speed so you can push a lot better, but also Alacrity allows you to use your combos a lot more easy. So, like, there's this point in the beginning of the game with Riven where at a certain point with attack speed, if you get, like, at this certain point with attack speed, your combos are going to be easier to pull off. I don't know exactly what that point is. Like, there's just this kind of point in the game where... it's like, as soon as it scales up, it will just become easier to use your combos overall. But Alacrity helps you with that, so it makes your combos a lot easier to pull off. Now, if you think that you're actually really good at playing Riven, you think that you're really good at using your fast Q and using your combos in general, you can always skip the Alacrity. But personally for me, despite me playing Riven for 8 years, being really good at doing combos and everything, I don't necessarily play Alacrity for the combos, because I can do this fine, but I prefer Alacrity over anything else, because as for like split pushing, it helps you out a lot when taking turrets and stuff. Anyways, you also have Tenacity, which is what I would mostly recommend all the time. Tenacity is very important because it allows you to run through CC a lot faster. It's going to deny the amount of CC for quite a bit once it's fully stacked. If the enemy team does have a lot of CC, I would recommend you guys to take Tenacity instead. If they don't really have that much Tenacity, if they don't really have that much CC, just go for Bloodline or Alacrity. So if they don't have a lot of CC, you can also take the Bloodline, which basically allows you to lifesteal a lot better throughout the game. Like, the more you progress in the game, the more lifesteal you can get from your auto attacks. This is where Bloodline is very important. But ultimately, once again, it kind of comes down to personal preference. If you think that like split pushing is really important and you're really bad at doing Riven combos, just go Alacrity. If you think that you're confident in your combos and everything, and they have a lot of CC, go for Tenacity. And if they have like a lot, if they don't really have that much CC, but then again you also don't want Alacrity, then Bloodline is always the best choice. Now, this one is actually pretty important. We have, I always pronounce this wrong. I actually don't even know how to pronounce this. We have Coupe de Grace or something. I don't even know how you pronounce this, but whatever. Ultimately, for these three, Last Stand is always better. I did like a few numbers, but Last Stand is just always better in general. Always, all the time. Now, for the secondary page, you pretty much always want to go for magical footwear. It's going to be pretty standard. This is pretty much like the best choice to go for. You could also go for Futures Market, but then again, Futures Market only works if you're getting super fed. So Magical Footwear is like the perfect choice because it doesn't matter if you play good or bad. Magical Footwear is going to add up to your gold. It's going to be very useful and it will always help you scale better. And then you have the Cosmic Insight. Now, this pretty much plays for itself, like the 5% CDR on the abilities, on your Q's and E's, everything else is just super important to have. So it's once again, this is going to help you with your combos and being able to pull the Q, like the waiting with Q's. It's going to make it a lot easier. For the bonus stats, this is where it's really interesting. Like, usually people are always going for CDR scaling into AD and armor. This is pretty much my standard page too. But once again, if you think that you need a little bit more damage, you could also go for the AD, like the extra AD, and you could take Lucidity boots in the game. Then again, if you don't take it, just go CDR, take like Ninja Tabis and Mercs as boots in the game, and this is pretty much like the best setup. Now, what you could also do, you could actually go into, wait, where is it? You also have fleets. You guys have seen me play with fleet like a lot. Personally, I don't recommend going fleet. I just don't do it. Like, there's only a certain amount of matchups where it actually works very well. Now, up to the secondary page. This page is very important when playing as Tryndamere, which is Face Rush into the Nullifying Orb with Transcendence and taking the Scorch. Also taking the free boots, once again with the 5% CDR. Now, this is the Riven against Tryndamere. So, you really want to make a play like Riven against Trynd. If you're not playing against Tryndamere, don't use this page. Like, this is literally the only page that you use against Tryndamere and nothing else. The reason for that's because this doesn't, like, give you much damage at all throughout the game. But the Face Rush, once again, this rune allows you to, like, proc it, trade with Tryndamere, and then immediately back off afterwards. It's going to make the Tryndamere matchup super easy. It's going to make it like a piece of cake. But outside of the Tryndamere matchup, I don't recommend this one. Just Tryndamere only. Now, you also have another page, which is the third page, which I would recommend, which is the Grasp on Riven. Now, this is the secondary best keystone on Riven at the moment. If Conqueror does not exist, Grasp is the best choice. So, I'm going to take Grasp here. Demolish is pretty much, Shield Bash is pretty much standard. Taking the Bone Plating with, you could go for Revitalize, but I personally recommend like Overgrowth all the time. Now, I would only recommend Grasp at the moment if you play into matchups where you can actually proc this all the time. So, unless like the only reason you want to use this for is if you're in a hard matchup, but also where you think that you can auto attack quite a lot. So, as soon as you proc the Grasp in the laning phase, you immediately want to try to like get the proc off so you can keep on procking over and over. That's what Grasp is being good for. But if you're not in that kind of matchup, I don't recommend it. You also have Shield Bash. It's explained itself, gives you more damage when using your E. You have Bone Plating, which I would always recommend taking if you're in a matchup where they don't have all in. Or I mean, where they don't have poke. If they have a lot of poke, you want to be going for Second Wind. Because Second Wind allows you to heal from every single auto attack and ability that they do on you, like the damage that they do on you. If they don't really have that much poke in the game, I just recommend you to go for Bone Plating instead. It's just way better. Overall, if they have like a lot of all-in, Bone Plating is going to tank that, and it's going to be doing like, it's going to be helping you quite a bit with tanking a lot of damage. Now, Overgrowth is what I would recommend the most because obviously this is going to max out your health, especially throughout the game. Like the longer you play, the more it's going to scale up to you. Then again, Inspiration Tree is pretty much standard. Now for the last thing, we have one more page which is actually really good. But then again, it's not better than Conqueror, but it's there. It exists. Which is the Electrocute page. So I would actually consider going for this. You could also take the Ravenous Hunter. I like to go for that too, but personally, Ultimate Hunter is pretty nice too. Then again, what I would recommend taking is either the Inspiration Tree or going into the Sorcery Tree and taking the Transcendence with Scorch. This is what I would consider the best page in terms of doing as much damage in such a short amount of time as possible. Because as soon as you get like 3 hits off with Electrocute, it just does the most damage. Then again, this is pretty much like the only page, like the only direction that you want to go into. I don't really have any interest in the other runes here. They are not really useful to me. Maybe Ultimate Hunter, but then again, it's ultimately up to you for these two. But personally, this is pretty much it for all the runes that we have. There isn't really much better than this. Even the Electrocute page is kind of like, wow. It's not really that great. Ultimately, like, you can get Challenger playing with Conqueror only, or getting the or playing with Face Rush against Training Mirror, but ultimately you don't need the other stuff at the moment. But anyways, this is pretty much all you need to know about the runes for Riven at the moment. Like, this is literally everything you need to know about Riven runes at the moment. Hopefully, I was able to help you guys. Anyways, thank you for watching today. Don't forget to check out my stream because I'm streaming like almost every single day right now. But that being said, guys, there will be a link inside the description. But anyways, thank you for watching today. I will catch you guys up in the next upcoming video. Peace.